Manchester United to finally grow a spine over the Marcus Rashford situation with Barcelona and no longer be bullied. And Morgan Rogers news coming in. And if Bruno Fernandes leaves, maybe Morgan Rogers is the replacement. We got updates on Hayden Hackney. Why it didn't happen in the January window? I feel like that would have made more sense then. United potentially looking at him in the summer. More updates on our recruitment plans, and Amad obviously speaks about Carrick and the importance of Carrick coming in and more. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show, where we're going to round up all the latest Manchester United stories that have gone about in the next 10 minutes for you guys, talk about how likely I think this story is becoming true, how reliable the story is, what's been said, my thought, and more. If you do enjoy this kind of content, feel free to hit that like button. You're welcome to subscribe if you're new and want daily Manchester United news updates. Let's start with the story on Hayden Hackney. This came from OneFootball via Team Talk. It's not a tier 1 source or anything, but we spoke about Hayden Hackney a bit in January, and I did want to cover this. Man United are continuing to monitor Hayden Hackney ahead of a summer rebuild. Seen as a long-term profile, not a marquee name. Carrick connection, previously coached him at Borough, as we've mentioned many times before. A January move apparently was blocked because Borough priced him out despite Forest pushing. Now, we never really pushed for him. Now, I always said Hayden Hackney maybe as a January deal makes sense. I think in the summer there's so many good names available that as much as I do think Hayden Hackney is good enough for the Premier League and there's a player there, he wouldn't be in my top 10 midfield options. Whereas if we're looking at January, I think he's, out of the realistic names that can move in January, he's probably, 5th on the list. Whereas I think in the summer, he's maybe like 12th on that list. Hayden Hackney could be like an Adam Wharton. Very good in the Championship, moves to the Premier League, and Adam Wharton hit the ground running when he joined Palace and actually went to England and with the Euros. And Hayden Hackney is a very similar player to Adam Wharton, very good on the ball. Definitely too good for the Championship. The thing with Hayden Hackney is he going to be an Everton level player, or is he going to be a top 3, top 4 team level player? You don't know. I think he's more than good enough to play for an Everton, who are a good side at the moment, to be fair to them. And I don't want to talk bad of them because we play them next. But you know what I mean? Like, is he a mid-table player, or is he a top player? And I think the fear with Man United going for Hayden Hackney is you bring him in as one of the names to replace Casemiro Ugarte. And obviously he wouldn't replace Casemiro. He plays a bit further up. And it would be a massive drop-off. To replace Casemiro, you need a Tonali, you need an Elliot Anderson. We could look at Matheus Fernandes, who's got a bit more Premier experience. But as a third midfielder for depth, Hackney's a name. Like, my dream situation, if we can't get Elliot Anderson, is Matheus Fernandes and Tonali as the two main midfielders to replace Casemiro and Ugarte. Then the third midfielder, it could be a Hayden Hackney, it could be a Sander Berge, it could be a Muzakitis, it could be a Bergvall. But I just think Hayden Hackney, if we were going to do it, it would have just made sense to have done it in January. He's worked with Carrick. Carrick might not be here in the summer. Are we just being linked with him because he's played with Carrick and he's the best player in the Championship? Maybe. It's just not someone I'd want to get in the summer unless he was that third midfielder for a good price, just because I think it was a January option. So let's talk about outs. We've obviously spoke about in a video in the past how the sale of Greenwood and Rashford could be massive in terms of determining our transfer budget, because it obviously would be pure profit. And I say the sale of Greenwood, I mean, we've got a 50% sell-on clause. So if someone buys him off Marseille, it was said by Andy Mitton that United will not budge and renegotiate on the €30 million buy option attached to Rashford's loan at Barcelona, despite rumours Barcelona want to pay less. That's 26 million. I think right now, Marcus Rashford would have many teams pay £40 million for him. So if Barcelona don't want to pay 26 million, they can F off. The problem is, Rashford loves Barca. He only wants Barca. He doesn't want to move. Barca just hoping, loads of clubs can come and offer Man United more for Rashford, but if he only wants us, then he's just going to keep rejecting those clubs, and we can get him for less than 26 million. Now, the one strength Man United have now, Amarin is gone, is they could say, and this, I think this would be a bluff, well, if you want to pay 26 million for Rashford and he's rejecting all the other clubs, we'll take him back. Carrick wants him back. We want to play a 4-3-3. We need a left winger, cool. Now, I don't think Man United want to take Rashford back, one, because of the wages, but two, as much as I like Rashford, think he's a good player, and ability-wise, I'd like him back, I wouldn't want Marcus Rashford back because his head's not at Man United. His head's at Barcelona, he wants to be at Barcelona, and one thing with Rashford is, if he's not happy, if his head's not at the club, he's not going to play well. But let's just pretend we want him back. Let's just pretend that we're begging to bring Rashford back. The new manager wants him back, and Barcelona aren't going to pay up, and we're happy and we're having him back because that's in our control. All of a sudden, Barcelona might find 26 million. Because, look, it's a 26 million buy option. There's teams that will probably pay 40, 50 million for Marcus Rashford right now. If Barcelona won't give us 26 million, then we need to grow a spine and say, all right, well, we're not going to lower the price. We'll take him back. Or we tell Rashford he's got to look at other clubs or come back and scare him. And I think that will scare Barcelona into paying up. I think Barcelona, yes, they're a brokey club, but I think Barcelona are trying it on because it's Man United. Chris Wheeler said that Man United are puzzled by speculation. They are prepared to renegotiate a fee below 26 million for Barca to sign Rashford permanently. They're adamant that is not the case and say Barca must agree to pay the figure in full. You've also got to remember that Marcus Rashford would lower his wages to go to Barcelona, so that makes it easier for them. Rashford's been out the last 2 Barcelona games, and they've lost back-to-back domestic games for the first time in a very long time. Rashford has been good for Barcelona. Any other team easily pays, 40 million for Rashford right now. You know, it's mental. It's mental that Barca are trying it on. Now, it was actually reported that Rashford could come back. United and Barcelona have open talks for Carrick, but apparently Carrick would like to bring Rashford back, but Rashford wants to stay. Well, Carrick's not the manager yet for next season, so I think the report's probably made up. But I think what Man United will do is they will put out reports that whoever the manager is wants to bring Rashford back. And I think Man United will do that and brief journalists that, not necessarily because it's true, but as a tactic to be like, right, pay up for Rashford because we're just happy to take him back. I think Barcelona, if they thought we were going to take Rashford back, I think they would cough up 26 million. But I don't think United plan to bring Rashford back. United do not recognise rumours that Carrick wants Rashford back once his loan ends. Carrick isn't necessarily going to be here next season, so it's a nut story. And Rashford has never said he'd like to return. Rashford doesn't want to come back, and that's why I wouldn't want Rashford back. Ability-wise, yes, but if his head's not here, I don't want him back. Let's talk about the Morgan Rogers news and why I think this is big. Morgan Rogers, Liverpool deny talks for Villa star as United circle. So it's been said, and again, this is team talk, so I would take it with a pinch of salt. But there's one thing they mentioned that's interesting, is that United reignited their interest in Rodgers, holding him in high regard. We like Rodgers, we've watched him for a while. I think because we've got Cunha and Mbeumo, it's not necessarily a necessary deal, but I think he's a good player. However, if Bruno Fernandes goes, he is probably one of the names up there to replace him. Ineos view him as a key attacking reinforcement. Arsenal, Chelsea and Spurs are monitoring, and any United move would depend on Bruno's future this summer. Now, Morgan Rogers and Jai, I think Morgan Rogers is more of a 10 than a winger. I think Jai is more of a winger than a 10. They could be on our list for wingers, but I think Morgan Rogers is more on the list of in case Bruno leaves. Now, why do I think this story is kind of big in a weird sense? And I think that is because there is a serious possibility Bruno could leave this summer, which I don't want to happen. And who would come in to replace Bruno? I think Bruno Guimaraes is a good player, but there's no way Newcastle would let him come to us. Cole Palmer's not going to happen. I think if Bruno Fernandes leaves, I think Man United go for Morgan Rogers. And it has been reported that a move for Morgan Rogers could depend on Bruno's future. I do think if Bruno Fernandes leaves, he's got a 56 million release clause. He may go to Real Madrid. I hope that does not happen. I think we will go for Morgan Rogers. I think it would probably be the name we go for, we move for, and I think we'll be competing with Chelsea for that. I like Morgan Rogers. I'd happily take Morgan Rogers, but if I had to choose between Bruno staying and getting Morgan Rogers, Bruno is staying every day of the week for me. But I do think this Morgan Rogers story could be a big story in the coming months, depending on Bruno's future. In terms of other news, it is said that United are taking recruitment seriously this summer, and they will have a full recruitment process for their next manager, and they will consider all available options. Even now they don't have a manager, and they're going to take their time to choose the next manager. Amad was asked about Michael Carrick in training, and he said that having Carrick in training is very enjoyable, that he enjoys training, and that Michael Carrick is a nice guy. He's obviously known him for a long time because he was there when he first arrived, and obviously saw him in the Championship. And one of the interesting things that Amad Diallo said of Michael Carrick is that it's very important to have a player, important as a player to have people around who know the club and know exactly what the club means for them. They keep telling us what it really means, and that's important. And then we go on the pitch and we fight for them. So that's important to have that. And I think that's why, Carrick is doing quite well, is because he's got a lot of respect from the players. And I think, having people that know the club is important. I'm not saying we should build the club around ex-players, but having someone like Carrick that knows the club, that can get the respect of the players, that knows how to deal with Man United, whereas I think Ruben Amorim didn't really know the club, and that was quite obvious by the fact that he ignored the youth, the way he played, the way that he dealt with the media, I think is definitely beneficial. Anyway, thank you for watching today's 10-minute roundup. See you next time. Bye.